The Tampa Bay Rays. Let's talk about them. The Tampa Bay Rays have been the clear-cut number one team in baseball since the first game of the season. But how? It almost doesn't even make sense that the Rays continue to be this good. But if you know the Rays, it does make sense. It has almost become a joke at this point, right? Don't make a trade with the Tampa Bay Rays because you're going to lose that trade. Or don't let go of a player because if the Rays pick him up, you know that player is going to become one of the best in baseball. But there's so much truth to this. And let's dive into the trades a little bit. First, let's look back to 2011 when they traded Matt Garza at the height of his value for a pitcher named Chris Archer. Well, Archer would go on to be the ace of the staff and one of the best pitchers in baseball for quite a few years. Then in 2018, they flipped Chris Archer back around to the Pirates, again, at the height of his value. And the second he left Tampa Bay, he has not been very good. Their return in that trade for Chris Archer, Austin Meadows, Tyler Glasnow, Shane Baz. I could go on and on and on here. Austin Meadows ends up being an all-star for them in 2019. Leads the Rays with 106 RBIs in 2021. And then they trade him to the Tigers, again, at the height of his value. We know who Tyler Glasnow has become. He's become one of the best pitchers in the game of baseball. So the question becomes, how? What do they do differently that nobody else in the league is doing? How are they doing this with everybody that they bring in? Well, we've gotten to hear it firsthand on Flippin Bats from the ace that I just mentioned, Tyler Glasnow, from Ryan Yarbrough, who was previously a starting pitcher for the Rays, from another friend of the pod, Brett Phillips, and all of them in consensus say the Rays just put you in the best position to succeed with what you are good at. You can come into the organization and they will say, this is what you do poorly, but you're doing it a lot. This is what you do really well, and you're not doing it enough. Let's do this more. So next thing you know, this team is using analytics to put the players in the best possible position for them all to succeed. And this season, they just continue to do it. By far the best team in baseball, the only team in baseball with 30 or more wins, and they're doing it all with a payroll that is 28th out of 30 teams in the game of baseball. $75 million the Rays have spent in their payroll this season. Just for a quick comparison, the New York Mets, $346 million. The Rays are at $75 million. Think about that for a second. It is wild. And then on top of that, think about how they're doing it. Pitching-wise, Jeffrey Springs this year, off to a great start in the season, had a 0.56 ERA in his limited time. Next thing you know, his season comes to an end. He needs Tommy John surgery. Drew Rasmussen, 2.62 ERA this season in his limited time before getting put on the 60-day IL, and that certainly does not look good for him this season. Shane Baz, Tommy John, in September, out for this year. Tyler Glasnow, yet to pitch this year. Name another team in baseball that could lose 4 top-end elite throwing starters and still be the best team in baseball. Imagine the New York Yankees losing Garrett Cole and Nestor Cortez and Luis Severino, all of them, and still being competitive. It just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen for any team in the game of baseball. Yet for the Rays, it continues to happen. Zach Eflin was handed the biggest contract in Tampa Bay Rays history for a free agent this offseason, which is wild because it was 3 years and $40 million. After he went 3-5 with the Phillies last year with an ERA over 4. This year, he's 4-1 for the Rays, an ERA in the mid-3s. He's throwing really well for them, and he's been a big starter for them. It's just crazy the output they are getting from literally anybody they're putting into a position to succeed, which is what they're all doing. Offensive production from literally everybody in the lineup. Yandy Diaz batting .321, Isaac Paredes, Wander Franco, Josh Lowe, Randy Arozarena. Some names that aren't even household names in the baseball world are stepping up, and the reason that the Tampa Bay Rays are as good as they are. They are getting offensive production from literally everybody they put in the lineup. And they're doing all of this while competing in a stadium that is in St. Pete, where they don't even get fans, where year in and year out they are traditionally at the bottom of the league in attendance because they're playing at the Trop, which is not near as nice of a stadium as everybody else around the league. And, again, worth repeating, the Tampa Bay Rays don't have a stadium in Tampa. Put them in Tampa. Allow the fans that love the team to show up and fill the stands. I absolutely believe they can and they will, but it's very difficult to get to St. Pete. So everything that they're doing, it's very hard to even be able to watch this team. But the world and their fans deserve to watch them. The Tampa Bay Rays' entire organization is a machine, and they're a finely tuned machine at that, and they deserve a lot of love.